Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Joining Me Today podcast presented by me, Bailey Ewer Smith, a guy that's so happy that Cody Rhodes finished the story. I'm so happy. It's really funny because loads of people are not going to know what that's a reference to, and wrestling fans are going to love that one. Can you tell I've been watching a lot of wrestling recently? But anyway, and stuff. Today on the show, another fantastic episode. It's a JMT podcast. It's what we're all about here, giving you guys the best content out there and stuff. Yes, I am the host, so I know I dragged the show down, I know, but I'm still here to provide you the best guests, the best episodes and stuff out there. But before we get started, it's time for the song recommendation. And today's song recommendation is going to be a song called My Drugs Are Digital by Holy Wars. A fantastic, fantastic kind of like alt rock sort of song, just like alternative song and stuff like that. Sort of the lead singer and stuff, whose name has just escaped me and stuff, her vocals and stuff like that in the song, absolutely brilliant. The structure of the song is really, really good. And it's a song where I feel like it deserves so much more appreciation. It could be like an even bigger song than it already is and stuff like that. It's really that good. Like the bridge at the end is so good. The lyrics are so awesome. It's such a good song. You guys should definitely go check it out. But anyway, on to the main portion of the episode. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys another fantastic indie act from the scene, actually from a local scene to me and stuff. We've got another representative of the local Colchester scene to me and stuff like that, which is brilliant and stuff. I always like to do my local representation. We've got so many good artists in this kind of area. I say in this area, I'm not actually from Colchester, but I'm from Clapton, North Essex. We're all the same in a way and stuff. That's how I relate. It's nearby. But anyway, welcome to the show, Bridget. How you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm doing good. You?
Yeah, I'm doing all good. I'm doing all good. I hope you don't feel awkward me being from Clacton saying it's the Colchester local scene. Do I qualify? Is Clacton close
It
enough?
works. It works. My nan actually lives in Holland on Sea, so I've got links to the area.
So I've got the pass, so I don't feel awkward now. I've got I've got the pass through.
Yeah, that'll do. Near enough.
I don't have to pay a fee or anything. Oh, I don't. But anyway, and stuff. To get into sort of the first question and stuff like that, I've just did my own song recommendation and stuff like that. But I also like to get my guest song recommendation. So, for you to recommend the song out there to the listeners, what would you like recommend?
Oh, well, recently I have been listening to Kim Gordon's new album, as in from Sonic Youth, Kim Gordon, if you don't know her already. It's kind of a mixture between Sonic Youth style stuff and trap. So it's very interesting, very industrial, kind of a bit like Playboy Carti type beats, but with Kim's vocals over it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected trap. Like when you said trap, I was like, "What? Really?" Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's got like the trap beats and all that stuff.
yeah,
Like, yeah, like, that's crazy.
yeah. It's really good, and it's just a bit weird. Like if you fancy listening to something just different and judging it, it's good.
Oh, that's brilliant. I've definitely got to check that out. And it's piqued my interest now. I'm like, oh, that's quite interesting. But
Mm.
I feel bad. I've never listened to Sonic Youth.
You would know some Sonic Youth songs, I'm sure.
I feel like I should do, but like I don't know, like if you were to say, oh, so and so song, I'd be like, oh, I didn't even
Mm.
know. There's so much music out there that I still need to listen to. Like it's like Pulp.
Oh yeah.
Think of any songs from Pulp, for instance. I was seeing something about them the other day. Like what? All right, then on that, then Sonic Youth song. What should be the first song I should start with? What would be like the introduction to their stuff?
I only know like there's people out there who's like gonna be big Sonic Youth fans. I really like Bull in the Heather, and also they did a cover of a song called Superstar. Can't remember who the original was by, but it was in the um it was in the Juno film soundtrack. And yeah, it's really sort of moody and sleazy, and oh, I like it a lot. Yeah,
And no surprise you like grunge music and stuff like that as well. So I can see why you like it. It kind of all comes together. I can see that. So I'll definitely have to
definitely.
check that stuff out 100%. speaking of sort of music and stuff like that, your music interests and all stuff like that, I want to go sort of a bit sort of backwards, go a bit more to the beginning and stuff. What was your like relationship with like music like growing up, and especially like when did you get into that more kind of alternative rock, that kind of grunge sort of all that kind of music?
So I've always loved music ever since I can remember. Cliche answer, but true. Um, Always had music on in the house. I always tried to do whatever I could do musically at school, even if it was musical theatre. Just, they didn't offer too much, but I'd do it anyway just to get involved with it. I'd say most of the music that I listened to growing up was alternative and definitely on the heavier side of things. And I just loved it from when I heard it. So I think it's quite a natural progression that I'm now creating things that are a bit heavier and just a little bit odd.
Do you feel like sort of even from maybe an earlier point you were already like, I don't just like music, I want to perform music, and especially this alternative of stuff I'm hearing, like was it something early on where you were like, I can see a dream already of this is definitely what I want to do with my life?
Definitely, yeah, but it took me a little while to figure it out properly. Like I always did music, I always wanted to do it, but it took a little while to actually form that into, oh, so I'm going to do it, sort of change it up from, oh, that'd be fun to, oh, I can actually give this a go. Oh, I'm doing it.
It must be great as well to think as well because like, what I mean, you've already sort of got like quite a few sort of accolades already, like play on like sort of Radio 1 and sort of all this sort of you've done little festival slots sort of here and there and stuff like that. Like it must be amazing to think you were saying and stuff, it took you a little while to realize you can really give a go of things, and you must be
Mm.
quite proud to think I've gave a go of things and look what I've accomplished now. It must be quite nice to think of all that.
It is when you get reminded of it, but for the most part, as bleak as it sounds, because it's not right in front of you, like, here's a trophy of your achievement, well done. You, well, for me anyway, I forget. And sometimes when you're having, like, feels like a slow time in your music career or whatever, you think, oh, I can't remember anything I've ever achieved. I have no talent, like, all those things. And then someone will remind you and you go, oh yeah, I actually have done some cool stuff. Yeah. So it's really nice when you do remember, when you do look back and you think, oh, I've done this all on my own. Yay, go me.
That is like a thing though. Like it's something I've thought about though and stuff like that. Like obviously my podcast is nowhere near the success of a lot of the other podcasts out there, but like
Not
some
yet.
not yet. Yeah, true. I haven't bribed people to say my podcast is good yet. I need to. Oh, don't. Uh, but yeah, like sort of with me, it takes me and stuff like that. Like sometimes, like a moment to step back and go, I've done this and this with my show because it's. I think I've said it in previous episodes. Like because people aren't coming in sort of like every day saying, "Oh, your podcast's amazing. Here's your numbers. Here's your stats, or this is what you've done."
Mm,
Like you sort of. It's not you don't feel it in your body.
no,
You know what I mean? Like you've done it. Like it's
yeah.
that thing of sometimes you need those reminders. So that's something I don't think sort of people like sort of talk about, is it?
Yeah, well, like even you said, oh, you must feel like this about it all, and it's like you don't really stop to do that, and that is a bad habit. So you should do that, and you should celebrate small wins, even if it is literally didn't feel like it, but I did get out of bed today and I looked at an email. It's hard. It's hard enough being human sometimes. So yeah, I think it's really cool to look back and be like, yes, I've done some stuff.
Yeah, 100%. That self-reflection sort of is very important. And I will just say that getting out of bed and looking at one email was pretty much how I got through A levels. So,
Yes.
COVID A levels were great. But anyway, um, God. speaking and stuff like that of achievements and all that though, and stuff like that, and speaking about this podcast and stuff like that, funny enough, I had Johnny from Pet Needs previously sort of on the show and stuff like that, of the fantastic Pet Needs and stuff, a band you guys should definitely still check out. I said it in that episode, you should definitely still check them out. Those guys are awesome and stuff. But I know that you've collaborated with them quite a bit, and you guys have actually, you've actually done a song with the guys and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like, how did you meet the guys in the first place, and what stuff have you guys done together?
So I knew of them already, but because around the time I knew them, I was about 16, 17, so I wasn't really going out, but I just knew of them. I went to do some experience in a studio in Rowhedge, and they were there. They were the first band in there, so we were talking quite a bit. I was with them the whole week, doing their album, the first one. So yeah, we got close. You get quite close in those environments. I ended up helping out a little bit, just did a little bit of backing vocals, and yeah, we decided to do a song together. Johnny wrote it and sent it over and said, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
And it must have been amazing to sort of think, you know what I mean? It's like, because obviously they've done sort of quite so much themselves and stuff. It must be amazing to sort of think like you've got that recognition from them in a way to be like, we want you on a song. Like you must think like, wow, like they actually wanted me. That must have been such a cool moment when they asked you to be on.
Yeah, I mean, like it's cool because it's just nice if anyone is appreciative of your art, what you do, and what you contribute to everything. So it's nice to be considered, definitely. And yeah, I mean, I got to sing that at the O2 Shepherd's Bush Empire to big audience, so that was an experience.
Because that venue's like quite well known now, especially in the music scene in London. So like, yeah, that must have been such a cool experience.
Yeah, it was great. It was just good fun, really good adventure, and it's nice to be doing my own thing and have these little pockets of little markers in time of, oh, I did that in that year, that month. You know, it's good.
Well, sort of speaking and stuff like out of like sort of recording stuff like that and albums and all that. I know that sort of this year you released your first EP and stuff like that, Damage Reversal and stuff like that. Really good EP. You guys should definitely go check it out. Sort of how did the EP sort of like come about and stuff like that, and sort of yeah, like what's it like now thinking you've got an EP out there?
It's a weight off my shoulders, if I'm honest. I'm just happy to have it out. I think a lot of other artists will relate to this. When it's your first body of works, or just you just want to get it out and you want to move on to the next bit. But it was special to me, and it is still special to me because those are like the last lot of my first sort of songs that I ever wrote. So it's a big marker for me. And in terms of growing up as well, it kind of coincided. But yeah, so I had some singles that I wanted to put out, and I thought, let's just do it as an EP, and then I can move on to the next phase.
I know and stuff like that. If the first EP is so awesome, I know the next one's going to be awesome, and from
I
there
hope.
and stuff, it's going to be great. It will do. I promise you. I know everything about music, so I know it's going to be good. I don't know. I've done that joke so many times. I don't know why. Anyway,
It's good. I've never heard it before, so it's fine.
you don't have to sympathy laugh. It's fine. But anyway, and stuff like that. But like speaking of your EP and stuff, I know that you did a gig at HMV, funny enough. Speaking of Colchester local scenes and stuff,
Yeah.
I saw you did sort of an Instagram post. You were saying like you were quite sort of shocked that quite a few people turned up and all that. I know you said something about you thought it'd just be your family or something. Like, what was
Yeah.
that whole like experience like?
That was beautiful in a massively cringy, cliche sense. It was just like, oh, wow, this is special. It's one of the first times that I've really thought, oh, something's happening here. Because, yeah, like I say, I just, not even in oh, I'm trying to be humble. I just thought it's a Saturday, people are busy. Instagram doesn't really show gigs much, if you try and promote anything. it goes no. Um, so yeah, and I came out ready to go on, and I was like, oh my God, like, and quite a few people who I know, like, quite a few people who I know, um, but I haven't seen in a while turned up, as well as other people who were just browsing and stopped to watch, or had some, like, quite a few young people turn up and say, "Oh yeah, we like follow you on Instagram," and yeah, I felt down with the kids for real.
But yeah, like there must have been sort of so cool and stuff, especially like when you were shocked that people were really like sort of turning up. And it's
Mm,
again, it's sort of going back to the thing we were saying earlier of just like it's those little reminders in it of sort of
yeah,
where you're at and stuff like that. Like that must have been sort of so awesome. And it was like an acoustic sort of gig, wasn't it, from what I saw in it? I know that
yeah.
Petney's also did a similar one. So was it
Mm.
sort of weird doing your songs in that more acoustic style as opposed to the more, you know what I mean, the kind of more rock kind of grunge style?
Definitely weird, definitely more vulnerable. So I write most of my songs, I usually start them, most of them out on acoustic guitar anyway, but I write planning to be very heavy and loud, or, you know, jumping around. And you can do that with acoustic, but I feel like the songs also lend themselves to be quite poetic and pretty and nice. So I have to try and do it in the way that feels authentic to me, because I'm not going to stand there completely still. I can't do that. But it, you just have to get the performance right, but also without thinking about it too much, because I don't want to think about it too much. I just want it to be raw and. But yeah,
That
it's
sort of
weird.
naturalness in it.
Oh,
It's like you're
good.
just naturally
Yeah,
going, you're not thinking. It's second nature in it, kind of.
exactly. Yeah, and I think that's really important for what I'm doing, because that's why I do it. It's because it's more of a natural thing rather than a planned out. I'll pose like this for this verse, or I'll do this for this verse.
See, and I'd find it really hard because, like you said and stuff like you'd struggle to sort of stand still. But I feel like with me as well, I'd be like so like I just want to like get that screaming part out or get this, and I'll be
Mm.
like, no, let's turn it up. Come on, guys, like you know what I mean? That'd be my natural. I'll be like kicked out, be like, we're done with him now. Go on. You know, we spoke about sort of, you know, like you're in that kind of, you know, that sort of alternative sort of scene, sort of rock stuff and sort of your love of it, sort of, and all that over the years and stuff. And I know there's also discussions and stuff like all the time in terms of, you know, sort of like, you know, sort of women in music and stuff like that and in all different scenes and stuff like that. And so what would you say sort of is sort of your experience and sort of your opinions on sort of just basically that topic of women in music, but especially in that kind of more alternative scene, rock scene, like, so what would you sort of say to that?
I think it's growing by the minute. I think it's great. I think not the fact that there's more women in the scene. I just think people are actually putting them at the front now, and quite a lot of events springing up where women have just gone, right, we'll do it ourselves then if you're not going to book us, which I really like the attitude of. Um, yeah, it can be tough at times. Um, if certain things happen to you as a woman, or because, like, there's been times where things have happened to me, or I've been underestimated, or just not, like, I can't think for myself and that I don't know anything, and you can tell it's because I'm like 5'2" and a bit woman, and they don't, most of the time it's like not even meant in a bad way, it's just instant dismissal of, she won't really know, so I'll ask someone else or whatever. But you find your power to say, to stand up for yourself. It's annoying that we have to still sometimes. We're just musicians. We happen to be women.
Yeah.
um, but there's some really cool places and events springing up.
You know, like I'm a massive fan of like Paramore and stuff like that, and they're
Mm.
definitely one of the pioneers of the kind of sort of, you know, sort of female fronted sort of bands and just sort of female sort of in music. And I find it so funny how like like I think it's so great now that we are sort of seeing sort of people know a lot more female artists out there, and they know, and there's more care for the scene and all stuff like that. Because I felt like with someone like them, for instance, it was them and not really many others. Them and Evanescence, and it wasn't really many others. And I felt like sort of, and other people have said this. People would always say, "Oh, if they're female in rock music, oh, they're a Paramore like band, or they're a." Now you're seeing Spirit Box is the one people say they're a Spirit Box like
Yeah,
band, and it's sad to think it's kind of it's always like, oh, they've got to be this, they're a woman, they must be this kind of woman, or they're this kind of, and it's like people don't
exactly
just see
that.
it as it's all just music, isn't it?
It is indeed. Yeah, that's why I like a lot of the stuff that's going on because it's just messy. It's just girls having fun. It's it's not anything to do with what anyone thinks. It's just all about getting that art out and not caring about all the other stuff that goes along with it, which is really cool.
But yeah, but no, sort of ultimately though, it is obviously sort of very important and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It matters to so many people, such as myself and stuff like that, all that sort
Hmm.
of stuff. So yeah, it's fantastic and stuff like that to see things sort of changing. Obviously, to hear sort of even your own sort of opinion and experience and stuff like that in that space. And sort of like, yeah, we spoke about the past, we spoke about sort of the present, and now when I look to the future, you've already said about, so we've already hinted about future EPs and future work. Sort of, you got anything in the works? Maybe an exclusive for the podcast, maybe a new song coming out or something.
I am definitely doing some more. That's what I'll say.
Oh, anything more? Can you give us a thingy?
I really enjoy it, so there will be more. But I'll give you a little hint. Maybe something is, how can I put it? Defrosting? Yeah.
That's one way to describe it.
Yeah.
But
But that's about it on that front. I'm trying to not put pressure on myself, mainly.
no, obviously, I'm obviously just sort of bantering with you and stuff, but obviously, you know what I mean? Hearing more stuff's in the works good.
Yeah.
Um, I always sort of like to ask this and stuff like that with music artists as well, especially sort of, because I feel like in the indie scene, there's like a lot of people kind of get a bit tentative about creating albums and stuff like that, or they don't really think about sort of doing that. Whereas before, that was albums were like the thing and stuff like that. Like, do you feel like an album is sort of ever on the cards? Is anything you'd ever want to do, or you're just happy to sort of create EPs at the moment?
Definitely in the future, when I'm more established and lived a little bit more life, definitely. I can see myself doing quite a few albums. I'd like to anyway. And I'd like to do your classic collaborations album that people do when they get bored of doing a solo ones. Yeah,
Uh,
but I think just getting as much out there as possible at the moment, just to invite people in and say, "Do you like this? Let's go."
oh, that is sort of brilliant. And sort of, would you, if like in terms of any future projects and stuff like that, would you want to sort of go for more? Are you thinking of maybe any themes you want to go for? Because I know a lot of people like to go for concept albums or concept EPs. Is
Mm.
that anything that would sort of interest you? Sort of being like you know what I mean? Sort of doing a more story with it, or is there any sort of ideas floating around like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of ideas, and I have lots of aspirations for stuff like that. I think it will be more of a spur of the moment thing. So if I want to do a theme or like a concept album, I think it will just be like I'm at work one day and then I need to do an album based around such and such. I like it, but yeah, I'm very much in the moment, plan, but don't plan too much. All about feeling. All about feeling, yeah.
Oh,
That's
100%.
that's what I'll do, yeah.
So you never know. Could be one day the idea could
Yeah,
just pop up, and then
I
could
won't rule it out at all. Like that's definitely a 50% chance. Probably higher, but I wouldn't constrict myself to right, what's the next theme I got to do? Yeah.
yeah, sort of you want to see. It's one of those like you said, you don't want to restrict yourself. It's
Mm,
just sort of wait and see what kind of happens and
yeah.
stuff. And I could definitely support that, and I'm definitely like that myself. I hate restrictions and stuff like that. But then sometimes my head goes 10 to a dozen, and then I thought of an idea that's going to cost me like thousands of pounds. I'm like, hang on, I need to slow
Yeah,
that down a bit.
that's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah.
So even, but like. Yeah, so we sort of had a lot of great questions with us, a lot of sort of great things today and stuff like that. Sort of covered a lot of different things and stuff. And sort of with every sort of episode, with every podcast episode and stuff like that, question I also like to ask is that with every guest, if you was to give sort of piece of advice, let's say it's like to myself, for instance, what's like the most important piece of advice you'd like put out there to people?
Do you, honestly, like, don't, it is, oh, if, even saying this is cliche because I've said that about 3 times, but maybe I'm just very cliche. Um, you are, whatever you do, it needs to be authentic to you unless you're deliberately not being authentic. You're a character or something. It's so important. I really think it's so important because it feeds into your whole life as well.
Hmm.
So the more you put out that isn't really you or what you're feeling, or it's not, the more uncomfy it's going to get. So I just want people to not care about what other people think. It's none of your business. Like, if you like it, you stick with it. It's more than just, when you're younger in school and you see a movie star go, be yourself or something. But it's be yourself in terms of have some guts, have some dedication behind your ideas, because I promise mostly everyone they're good, they're cool. And if it doesn't work, okay, do something else, do another one. Just keep doing it. Be you, wear what you want, do what you want. Just don't be a meanie, I'll say. Keep it PG.
We've asked some great questions today. We spoke about so many great things and stuff. But so it was a chance for yourself now. Anything you want to promote out there? Any upcoming gigs you got coming up? Sort of anything you want people to check out?
I would say go and check out my EP if you haven't already. It's all available on streaming services. I've got some music videos out too if you fancy a watch. And follow me. Keep an eye on what I'm doing because guarantee it'll be a good time. And yeah, keep an eye on where I am next. Everyone's invited. So yeah.
And definitely do, guys. Check out sort of her sort of EP. It really is absolutely fantastic and stuff. If you get the chance to have a listen and stuff like that, and definitely sort of see, if she's got things coming up and all that. Definitely, if you can go see her at a gig sometime, definitely do stuff like that. It's
Thank
definitely
you.
worth it. Like I said, I get on the best guest, so the music's going to be great. It's going to be great. But anyway, and stuff. This has been the end of another fantastic episode and stuff like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. See you guys next time. Peace out.